2023 was the year I quit my engineering job, packed up all of my stuff in Sweden and moved to the Netherlands. What can I possibly do after that? Like every year, I love to sit down at the end of the year and think about my goals and intentions for the next year, and also pick a motto or theme for the new year. So in this video, I'm going to share the journaling prompts I use to set my goals, and I will also share my own answers to each prompt to give you some inspiration for your own goal setting. Yesterday, I posted a video reflecting on this past year, which is something I've never really done this deeply, but I feel like it's helped me get so much clarity on what really mattered to me this year and what I wish I had done differently so that I can set better goals and intentions for the next year. I highly recommend that you go through the journaling prompts in that video first to reflect on your past year before you move on to setting goals for the new year, because this has completely changed the way I set my new goals, and I've ended up with some quite surprising goals that, as it turns out, I really care about, but I never would have realized. To guide my goal setting, I like to pick some areas of life to think about as I go through the journaling prompts. Here are some options for potential categories. You can pick one, some, or all of these categories to set goals in, depending on what's important to you right now. I decided to focus on career and business, health and fitness, and personal growth. Now that we have our areas picked, let's do some goal setting. The journaling prompts I'm about to share I learned from psychologist Corey Wilkes, who has an amazing newsletter called Creator Alchemy. I love these questions so much because they not only help you figure out what you want to achieve next year, but also think through exactly how you will achieve that, what might get in your way, and how to overcome that. What are my priorities for this next chapter? My main priority is doing well in my new job that I'm starting in February and using it to learn as much as possible. My second priority will be staying happy and healthy, as I expect to work a lot next year. And my third priority will be creating content on a regular schedule and having fun with it to grow my channel and my connection with my audience. This will be mainly YouTube videos and maybe a second season of the Fresh Engineer podcast. I'm still debating that, and I'd love to get more into writing because I really like writing, but I haven't yet found a good rhythm with my newsletter. I keep slacking off and I've been thinking of writing a book, and I'm really excited about the idea, but I haven't really made much progress on it yet. Now, this does kind of sound like a lot, and I'm gonna prioritize making YouTube videos over any other kind of content. So the podcast and writing will just be a bonus. What are the critical components I need to focus on to achieve them? To do well in my new job and grow from it, I will need to show up with my full focus, keep an open mind to learning new things, and really get involved at work and connect with my new colleagues and ask them lots of questions. To stay happy and healthy, I will need to sleep enough, eat mostly healthy food, exercise a few times per week, and give myself rest when I need it. To create content on a regular schedule, especially as I start my new job, I will need to have a content strategy and a production schedule that's realistic and also keeps things fun and interesting, because this is a hobby, so it should be fun, right? What could get in my way or has gotten in my way in the past? For doing well in my new job and growing from it, I don't really see any obstacles right now, other than maybe feeling stressed because I'm worried that I'm not fulfilling their expectations, or because I'm not really sure what's even expected of me. For staying happy and healthy, I think having limited time and wanting to do too much in that time will be the biggest obstacle. I especially worry about getting torn between resting when I need it and wanting to create content. And for creating content, finding the time to do it will also be the biggest obstacle. And another obstacle will be my current lack of long-term vision. Since I've changed my life pretty drastically this year, the plan I had for my channel and my content doesn't really fit me anymore, but I also haven't really found a good new path for it yet. The reason this is an obstacle is that if I keep changing my mind about the kind of content I want to make, I'm not going to be able to build anything bigger, and it will be more likely that I fall off the content wagon. I've seen the same thing this year, where I kept changing my mind between wanting to make super elaborate videos where I can only post every 1 or 2 months and making simple videos so that I can post every 1 or 2 weeks. This way I don't build up any significant momentum, and I don't learn that much either, because I changed strategies before I can take any deeper lessons from it. What do I need to do to overcome these obstacles? For my new job, I will need to make sure I get clarity on exactly what's expected of me, so that I don't stress about not fulfilling that and can just focus on doing what I'm expected to do and learning a lot. To stay happy and healthy even with an intensive job, I need to prioritize it over any other hobbies like making YouTube videos, so that I don't sacrifice sleep, rest or exercise for the sake of making content. And I will need to figure out a good routine so that I can do the things that keep me happy and healthy without really needing to think about it. So figuring out when and where to get groceries, when to exercise and do what kind of exercise, which will probably mostly be running because I can do that from anywhere, and maybe doing a strength workout once or twice a week, and figuring out when I need to go to bed to sleep enough, and maybe setting an alarm as a cue for me to go to sleep. And for making content regularly, I will first of all need to define a new content strategy that I really stand behind, and then create a simple content production schedule and probably keep tweaking it until I found a good routine. What is my plan moving forward? My plan for starting the new job is to just take it as it comes, not really worry about it too much, give myself time to get used to it, and focus on connecting with my new colleagues and asking questions. And then after a few months, take a step back and see what I want to improve. My plan for my health and happiness is to experiment with my routine until I found one that works for my new situation once I move and start my new job in February. Even just knowing that this is a priority of mine will help me consider it as I build my new routine. Finally, my plan for my content is to take some time over the holidays to brainstorm, let myself get inspired, and figure out a new content strategy, and then decide what kind of content I want to post going forward and how often, and then go full steam ahead on that new strategy. As I'm thinking about it now, maybe I need to go back to the basics. I mentioned in the beginning of this video that I'm considering making a second season of the Fresh Engineer podcast, reviving my newsletter, and writing a book. But how realistic is that while also starting a new job without neglecting the YouTube channel? It's not realistic at all. Maybe it's time for me to put those projects on hold and only allow myself to pick them back up once I found a routine with my new job and my YouTube channel, and maybe even abandon them altogether. Maybe I'm hurting my potential by trying to do so many different things and constantly adding more and more. I still have some figuring out to do, but right now the idea of focusing on one personal project, doing it right, and putting everything else on hold feels good. Wow, I wasn't expecting this. I think I'm gonna go all in on my YouTube channel and do it as well as I can. In one word, what is the theme for this next chapter of life? I love this question. I actually also picked a theme for this year at the end of last year, which was experimenting. And experiment I did this year. For the next year, I'm thinking that happy growth describes my intentions pretty well. I want to grow at my new job, I want to grow my YouTube channel, and I want to stay happy and healthy and have fun doing it. Hey, that's something I can get behind. Here's an overview of all the questions in case you want to go through them in your own time. I'm also gonna link Corey Wolf's original article in the description in case you want to dive deeper into these questions and get inspired by the intentions he set for 2024. And finally, I want to share a little hack to keep reminding myself of these goals and keep getting inspired by them throughout the year. I like to add all of my goals to my Notion and select beautiful pictures to create a little vision board gallery, and then save the goals page as my bookmark. So every time I open my Notion, I see my goals and it makes me feel really inspired. If you don't use Notion, you could also create a vision board in PowerPoint, Canva, or Photoshop, and then save it as your desktop or phone background. And to make sure I actually achieve my goals, I like to connect each goal with at least one project that's working towards that goal, which I also do in Notion. And if you're curious how exactly I do that, I have a video explaining my Notion setup, which you can find right here.